watching the old videos, but if I find something really unfunny and corny, the video ends. But that looks really promising. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'm not gonna post another video in another month. I am this man.